talk to us.
Hey,
What's your most
you can hear
controversial
me, right?
opinion? Yeah,
Yes?
we can
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
you.
we
can
got
hear
you.
you.
Oh,
How you doing,
finally.
buddy?
This is so annoying. I was speaking to myself like an idiot in my room and trying to. Yeah, your channel is so annoying. I need to. I was sitting with my phone trying to call you because I was afraid of that's my like computer doing the bug, but
Yeah.
it's my phone, and I wasted my entire evening on like watching your show exclusively. Yeah, I have
Wow.
two.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say. This is the
Okay,
type of
okay.
feedback I
Oh,
get.
he's pissed
So
at what we said.
Yeah.
yeah, I am kind
Oh,
of
here we
pissed.
go.
Not really. I mean, I just wanted to comment a little about as you probably have like a super like a business audience that are like right wing maybe or like centers or whatever. So maybe no one even thinks about that. But like the whole Dave Chappelle debacle is kind of ridiculous because no one really brought up how basically while he is funny at that moment like in his show, a lot of the things it's not really about offensive, it's just like inaccurate, and like the whole team turf shit is like it's like saying I'm team KKK guys, they just want to keep their cities white and they have right to do so or something like it's specifically like exclusionary hate group basically.
Wow.
So he's like,
Turf.
oh yeah, turf, that it's called, it means trans exclusionary feminist. So it's a bunch of like boomer feminists who just don't like trans women basically.
Ed
And
is so lefty. You
yeah,
think I'm lefty? Ed
I'm
is more
super
like I
lefty.
didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
they were
and
like a
I
radical
wanted
group.
Go ahead. I
call
no,
out,
but I want all
Amish,
points of you
really.
represented on this show. I want
I
to.
didn't
I
know,
want
I
all
didn't.
points of view. Come on, Hey,
That's a great
get your
insight. I
point,
didn't
get
know
your
that.
point. Get your point.
I didn't
Yeah,
know. So
we wanna
basically,
hear it.
Chappelle screwed up.
Also,
Chappelle
the Blair
used that, and
White thing. The Blair White is like a basically like a conservative trans woman. Like the whole, she's like a grifter. But if you look at even like her thumbnails or like just titles of the video, it's all like, oh, this trans person is wrong. It's they're too left or something, or like they're too woke, whatever. I'm the only
no, that's
trans person.
definitely her
I'm
game.
the
The
only
Blair
nice
White game is like
one.
I'm trans and I'm
And
conservative.
I've long
Yeah.
suspected Amish is deep in the right wing pipeline, alt-right pipeline.
Yeah.
I'm getting brainwashed
and
by the
now he
pipeline,
says something.
dude.
I really think so because you look at Blair White and then you say all of that basically anti-vax stuff. Like, come on, really? Like you want to encourage implicitly people to, oh, it's fine if you're afraid of getting shot, getting shot like a tiny baby. Oh, I don't want to go to the doctor. It's free. I would rather just eat dog food and medicine or whatever they
Yeah,
do.
get up, Ed, get up.
Well, if you're rich like Joe Rogan, like he's not leaving
Yeah,
the house. He's doing the podcast at home.
he's like, oh, look at me, I had to stay in a separate part of the building of my huge mansion where I live. Oh, poor me, I was getting better, so I didn't like infect my family and my kids or whatever. This is just so annoying with Joe Rogan thing. But anyway, I just wanted to correct you
Wow,
on that.
you're the only I'm in a right wing bubble. I have
think
not
so.
heard anyone say this.
No, but also Ed's in a left wing bubble too. I mean, I do.
I'm not in a bubble for sure. I hear a lot of that.
Nobody sees their bubble,
it's
though,
not,
I guess.
I know you get like politically. I know Steven is like super like centrist, and I know that the centrist like bias exists, right? So you want to like equalize right and the left or whatever. But right now, the right wing in America is so far right, like it's literally all like
Yeah, I agree with that.
all like conspiracy theorists, and QAnon is like mainstream basically.
And
They're all
Trump's
getting
coming
radicalized,
back!
and Trump
And
is coming.
Trump's
Like
coming back!
it's just
Stuart said
so
it.
saying that
Wait, hold
it's
on.
not equal to anything on the left, like at
No
all.
way. The left is not even left. Okay, I agree with that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But don't you see?
We've talked
that
about that.
on the right. They also say this about people on the left, right? Is that yeah, there's a false equivalency going on.
No, they're
I mean, the
crazy,
people
though.
on the right are reasonable. The people on the right, it's the people on the left. All they want is socialism in America.
Well,
All
you know
they
what?
want is
You're
this.
doing this again. You really. I mean, what's
No. But what I'm saying is, if you think QAnon is mainstream, that's a straw man. And what I'm telling you is, they'll
okay,
straw man you.
Okay, sure. but like
Fine,
radical
QAnon is not.
leftism is like great. It's like basically utopia if you think about it. Like
Yeah.
socialism in America is like everyone gets to I don't know, not die from curable diseases and have their own houses and not rent for a living. Like it's not, and the right wing extremism is like ethnostates. We need to only keep white people in somehow or whatever the fuck they believe
I mean,
in.
Tucker's getting pretty bad
wait,
sometimes,
wait,
though.
wait.
And he's on
hold
Fox.
Hold on. Do you think that the far left is like a utopia? I mean, I think people would say that's also like a pretty extreme, like not.
I mean, it's like the problem is in America, I mean, in the West, like in English-speaking countries, but I
There's
think
no
maybe
left, really.
worldwide too. No, that's not my point. It's like the Red Scare was so effective that when you think of like communism or whatever, or like socialism, you imagine only like some weird straw man of Soviet Union. So it's not even like Soviet Union, it's like even worse. It's
Yeah.
like every aspect of Soviet Union, but like worse than it even actually was. And now that Soviet Union is gone, there is no like no one is really no one to defend it or whatever. But also the point is like normal socialists don't like everyone knows kind of the first thing you learn when you like and educate yourself on leftism really is like that Soviet Union was like the whole communism thing 100 years ago was like co-opted by a bunch of just people who wanted
Dictators.
dictatorship. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like it was a dictatorship. He called it communism, and people were like, "Oh, this is how bad communism is." I agree with that.
Real quick, no. When I talk about like when I'm imagining what like the far left wants, I usually just like I'll just take someone from my experience. I try not to usually go off what the internet says because the internet is just kind of like. I like to just like actually talk to people. So I was talking to people. I was at a bar, and I was talking to a guy. Pretty quickly, I found out he's pretty far left. So I was asking him sort of like, what do you think should happen? And so these are the kind of people like that I imagine when I imagine, So I'm not going off Red Scare. I'm not going after anything else. And this guy's basically saying like we need a revolution in this country. We need to basically uproot the power centers. They're systemically corrupt. They're beyond saving, and we need to basically reorder society in this new way. And I was asking like, well, what does that involve? Like, are people going to die during this revolution? He's like, well, yeah, like, of course it's a revolution. I'm like, well, who do you think should die? And he's like, well, like 50% of the country's racist. So probably those guys.
Come on.
Well, he's an idiot.
I swear I'm having this conversation.
Weird.
I swear.
No, I agree. I believe you. I'm just saying that's not most people.
But to me, that person is as dumb and extreme as the people who believe in QAnon.
I know, but that person doesn't exist nearly as much. I feel like QAnon's pretty small, actually. QAnon is like very
conversation
small.
with this person. No, but it is weird. But it is weird because it's anecdote and it's a tiny sample set. But
right,
sorry,
it's
go
like
ahead.
Like an edgy teenager type or something. Maybe he's not a teenager, but he just wants to be like
my age, probably like 25, 27.
Yeah, but he wants to be like super edgy and radical in his like. Basically, he feels this way emotionally, so he like says it out loud, but he doesn't actually. So the leftism in general is operated not in like some weird. It's not like equal to the right in any way, It's
impotent.
Mostly constructed.
No money.
No, I mean like it's constructed by the actual like intellectuals of the world. The biggest leftists are the philosophers and. The political scientists, economists, and they all have like the way you get to that kind of I don't want to say utopian, but like to the better world is very debatable. But the ideal world for the leftists looks just not. It's just super different. No one should really die, right? It's I don't know. I don't know who you talk to. It's weird.
I think most people on the left, though, they just kind of want they're pretty reasonable. They want more. They want some tweaks that make it more European. not this extreme push to like socialism, communism. And then they are seen like that by right-wing people, that like you guys are just extreme and we're not going to take you seriously, and it's a slippery slope to communism. So I agree with that like there's so much propaganda that like this will lead to that, will lead to communism. But a lot of times the numbers show that a lot of the problems come from like right-wing capitalism or whatever. Like it's like cancel culture, right? A lot of people try to blame cancel culture on like, I think someone was telling me that like, do you know cancel culture is because there's a leftist communistic mentality going around the country, and that's why they believe in cancel culture, because cancel culture comes from communism. And the first thing I think is like, isn't cancel culture being fueled by like corporations who are like, I just don't want to lose advertising money? I see more receipts for the cause of for cancel culture being caused by capitalism than I do from socialism. But a lot of people just blame it on socialism, that it's like some kind of communist conspiracy, that they're all getting like entitled and lazy, and
it's literally the Nazi like communist Jewish conspiracy that they used to do Holocaust. Like this whole idea that somehow in the government there are a bunch of what does Jordan Peterson calls it, like a cultural cultural yeah cultural
no, but that's what they used to be like. Marxist, what are you, a Jew? They used to think like Jewish people were all Marxists.
They can't really be too like open, but if you go far enough in like a right-wing rabbit hole, you will find people who like all school, like behind the scenes, they will actually say that's all about the Jews actually control the everything, like whatever. But I just wanted to call in to like kind of not correct you, but like get this perspective.
Sure, get your perspective. Yeah, of course. No, we want your perspective.
People should take that. I wanted to hear about that.
So the Dave Chappelle, right?
Yeah.
He's basically like he is still funny. I know that the stand-up was funny at times, but he seems like this confused like boomer who just he's not bothered enough to look it up. He basically like in his rhetoric he puts up this idea of look, the oppressed minority of black people in America and their social struggles is somehow opposed to the trans people and their social struggles, not really realizing that actual left is like 20-30 years ahead of this idea, and there's a concept called intersectionality, and that basically your oppression kind of adds up if you're all of a sudden you find yourself in a position where you're poor, black, and a trans person, and maybe you're also disabled. You will like your life will get progressively more and more fucked up, and it's not really interest of one oppressed group doesn't like contradict the interest of the other oppressed group. It's
I didn't get my point. But I didn't get that from his special that somehow that was the case. I mean, I think he made his point that his main problem, I think he even says it during the show, he's like he was more angry about like white people, like sort of he was ranting about white people. But one second.
Okay.
I do think the larger message of his stand up, because if you take out like certain things from that show, he says he's talking about like Daphne, his friend, and he's talking about like after the show she hugs him and then he goes, I pushed her off violently because I'm transphobic. And it's clearly a joke, right? But if you take that,
I think he misgenders her at some point.
No. But my point is, if your point is that Dave Chappelle is not like up to date with the most current progressive ideology, like I agree, I fully agree. However, I'll say like he is publicly explaining like a perspective and a shift in perspective towards empathy, which I think is always going to be positive. I mean, like, again, is he up to date with the current like leftism? No. But then again, 10 years ago, most people were not. And yes, he's not as fast at maybe catching up and you're going, oh, he's a boomer comedian or whatever. But it's like not everyone moves culturally at the same space. Not everyone will ever move culturally at the same speed. And for ultimately the message of a comedian to be one about empathy, to me seems like it seems hard to totally criticize and be like, this is a message of hate. Like, I just don't understand people who are coming from that perspective. And I think, okay, he might not agree with everything you say, but at the same time, I mean, unless you're just like cherry picking his exact words and going like, no,
I think it's specifically about like Tim Turf shit, about J.K. Rowling, and the whole like outrage about, oh, look at me, I'm being cancelled while being like the biggest voice in the comedy, one of the biggest voices in the comedy at the moment. Like that's kind of ridiculous.
He's definitely not cancelled. So when he puts out these tweets
yeah,
saying like,
it doesn't mean
if
anything.
This is canceled, I love it. It's like you're not canceled.
But he doesn't put out tweets saying it.
Didn't he? I thought he put out a tweet saying if this is canceled, I love it.
I think somebody asked him, "Oh, you're canceled, Dave. What's your reaction?" He goes, "If this is what being canceled is, he's not saying he's canceled."
Oh, okay, cool.
Everyone knows he's not canceled.
He's not. He's fine.
I would say people
in the
want
show,
to.
I think. Didn't he?
I think he says people want to cancel me, and that's certainly true.
Right.
That is certainly true. But I don't think anyone's arguing that point. People want to cancel Dave Chappelle, and everyone knows Dave Chappelle is not canceled.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I mean, okay, my thought is just generally, comedy exists to push boundaries, push social norms, talk about the zeitgeist in a way that is, how would you say, like, I don't know, something that people from a broad swath can engage with meaningfully. And if that's your goal, I think Dave Chappelle did it, even if you don't agree with where he is politically, culturally, whatever. I mean, he literally talks about, he's like, my pronoun game was not as nice as is not as nice as it is now. Basically like, oh, he's come forward on that issue.
He's learning,
whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think there's this weird expectation for everyone has to be on the most up-to-date, list of the things everyone believes now. And I think that's unrealistic for society.
I think he, like a good take about yeah, I guess I agree. I would have to rewatch it to like. It's one of the things that you need to go point by point and like in the show and be like, oh yeah, see this thing is actually like bad or whatever. But I think people, the most clip moment is like the Team Turf shit, and that's just
right. You're the first person to bring that to my attention. I haven't seen anyone say that. So that's
it's not
good.
just offensive, it's like literally a hate group, and just saying that somehow it's neutral to the
no, but he wasn't saying that those people identify
to say that Tim Turf is like, oh, it's okay, I agree with and also at some point he like confuses the basic like difference between sex and gender. He like says, oh yeah, gender is biological, which is like ridiculous. Just like, so you didn't like spend any time thinking on or looking up anything about this before writing the show. Okay.
You think so? I mean, I do feel like he is in it emotionally, even though he doesn't have all his facts straight. Maybe that's why I found it so relatable. Because he's emotionally though, he does seem genuine. Like he does seem like he cared about that trans person who opened for him. Like he's genuinely upset that people think he's, transphobic. Like he does seem genuinely upset about that. And it's like he's trying to clear his name for like 4 specials now. Like he's been talking about it a lot. So it's obviously emotionally affecting him and he wants to say his piece and be like, no, I don't believe that. Did you not get that? Or you think it's all just...
I don't know. I just feel like he's kind of confused about everything. And why is he even like bringing it up? I don't know. Like if he had, besides the one trans friend that he had, or he didn't, like if you care about this issue so much, why don't you just look up what's the good joke and what's not good joke? A good take I found on the I guess on the internet floating around about this whole issue. Why one type of people say it's not funny basically, and the other types of people say it still is funny. is like and I guess it comes around to the terminology or like up to date on the leftism thing or whatever. It's not even leftism; it's more like just social progressivism. It has really nothing.
We can call it whatever.
I also don't like that social justice has just taken over the whole conversation on the left, and like nobody's talking about workers' rights. Nobody's talking about like.
I don't think it did. Like, isn't it like a straw man of conservative people? Oh, social justice does. You for sure just watch like right wing.
I think no. You know what I think it is? I do think it's because capitalism. It's because capitalism. Because a corporation is basically like, yeah, I'm going to get on board with the social justice stuff. It doesn't cost me anything. I just have to have my marketing team say we support gay pride. We support whatever lives matter. And I don't have to spend any money, because the real thing to do is like stop buying your stuff from slaves. But they're not going to do that. That costs way too much money.
Yeah, they're not.
So then they go, oh, give me the social justice thing. Okay, cool. We did some social justice shit. So we're good. Our name's clean. So it does seem like corporations are pushing
our market research shows that it's actually gonna increase consumption if we use the pride flag this month. So we're gonna do that. And they don't do this in other countries where it's not so popular to be.
No way, dude. No way. If half the people would just take their bank account,
in Russia, in China, they just
yeah. Yeah, no. So I think that's they push it a lot more too.
I just want to just one quick thing about this. Like basically, it's like imagine like a joke about like a mechanic or something that is constructed well, and it is very funny to general audience, but it's inaccurate on some very not really deep, but on some like very basic technical level, right? Mm-hmm. So you tell this joke to not even a mechanic, or you tell this joke to like a wife of a mechanic, and it's just not funny because it's dumb and inaccurate, or it's like supports some weird myth about how something works, right?
Turf is the only thing I've heard so far from you.
And this is right. And this is just most of these jokes. Do you want me to open it and go case by case? That's okay. I want to stop talking about this. Just one other beef.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's where I wanted to talk about this last time, but like I'm afraid that I can't really pull up on my phone. But the new Leftovers, which is a great show.
Oh, the Hassan and H3 podcast.
And Nathan, yeah.
Go ahead.
Great show, loving it, and everyone should watch it. But today, yesterday it came out the new episode. In the new episode, they call their virtual studio $10 billion studio.
Wow, dude, that's a straight rip off.
Wow,
a rip off, yeah, $10 billion.
Copycats, dude. Hey, listen, when you're on top, Ed, they're gonna come after you. Okay?
They said 10 billion.
Look at the reflections.
No respect.
Reflections on the table. They didn't fucking match the hand.
We're going to 10 trillion. We're going to 10 trillion. If they go to 10 billion, you best believe we're going to 10 trillion, dude. Wait.
I need to get that ashram.
Just wait,
the ashram.
Dude.
Have you seen your hands on the table? In like a bartender scene?
Yes.
They can't they just can't do it. They just can't replicate that.
Ed's like, dude, we're the $10 million studio. Wow, dude.
No respect, those guys. No respect. I thought you were gonna be like the Leftovers. They brought up something really good. No, but they said 10 billion.
I like this. I like
no
Angry
respect.
Ed. I like Angry Ed about
Angry Ed. This is great. We should do this. We should do a segment with you every week. You just call in and say, here's where you're wrong.
Also, guess what the Leftovers did this week?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, cool, dude.
Cool,
wow.
Man, thanks.
I can't believe they're ripping us off. I'll have to talk to Ethan about... No, I'm just kidding.
I'm a scammer. Gonna rip you off, take you down.